have a shorter game here from the August Games of Berkeley tournament. We got Harmony MedTech on the left, only needing 6 points to win. That also goes for the runner. And Kate on the right, who gets a discount every time she installs a program or hardware. He in this case, I guess. So we got Adam on the right, playing Kate, and Andrew on the left, playing MedTech. So that looks like a pretty decent opening. Got some, at least one or two early game cheap ice there. There's a quandary, and I think that might even be a pup, so that's great. And one agenda, Shiku. So that's not bad. You know, would have liked to see some economy there, but not a bad start. I didn't quite see what went down there on R&D, but I think the quandary went down over HQ. I believe that's a pup. Surprised that one didn't go down, but I didn't see what ice did go down, so taking a credit. First click there, the runner is drawing up a card. So you're going to hopefully see some very fast play here from the Corp. Going to need to play fast to take advantage of that ability. And MedTech is always interesting to play against. It always feels good even stealing one agenda against MedTech, because that much closer to victory compared to usual. That is a pretty good start there from the runner. Playing a hedge fund, which completely funds that magnum opus with Kate's ability. He uses it a couple times to finish off his turn, which is a fine thing to do. So he ends his turn at 7 credits while having a magnum opus installed. That is really good. So here we go with the Corp, playing aggressively, getting down some ice while there's an opening, and he puts the brain trust behind it. So best case here is the runner doesn't even run on that remote, and it is a little bit risky to run against it, because it might have a roto turret killing your magnum opus, which would be sad. Self-modifying code down here and then a run, I think, would be a pretty good way to go. Gets a mem chip down for free. It looks like he might just be ignoring that remote. So either, you know, he might be thinking, okay, that's not even an agenda, or it is an agenda. It's something like a brain trust, and the Corp's going to go broke to get it, thereby giving me access to the central servers. So now the Corp is at, I believe, 2 credits. I think that's the count. And yeah, okay, so he actually had 2 of those in his hand. Great. And HQ, I believe, is at Quandary, which he can also res. So that was a, you know, he did have to go broke, but he was able to protect his centrals. Besides not to res the Quandary, he had to sacrifice his Jackson Howard to do that, but I believe he doesn't have any agendas in HQ, so he'd rather keep the Quandary a secret. Does hit the Shiku. Spends a credit to do a net damage. I think the runner's probably going to take a net damage here. Depends a lot what your cards in hand are, but okay, so he loses a Gordian Blade. Shaper, not too worried about that. You have your clone chips. Although, we know that the Quandary's down there on HQ, so he just runs into, sees the Lotus Field as his last click, so he is going to need that Gordian Blade eventually. I think he drew into another Lotus Field there. Corp taking 3 credits. Corp is 1/3 of the way there to victory, though. I think the runner at this point should probably hit the top of R&D every turn as long as he can. With Magnum Opus out, that it's costing you basically 2 clicks to do, so it is costing you half your turn. So it'd help if he had a Data Sucker down or could combo it with something like a Dirty Laundry, but even still, oh, this is even better. So Maker's Eye spends 2 and then spends another 2 to get through. Hits a shock, so gonna take a net damage. So it is always dangerous to Maker's Eye against Jinteki. And hits another breaker, giving the runner a chance there to trash the shock. Decides not to. Wow, okay, so that could have been a really devastating run there. He made the right call, though. He ran when the Corp did not have 4 credits. But that could have been 4 net damage right there if the runner had 1 more credit, but it is a tie ball game here. Both players have a brain trust. I like seeing this. Both players are playing pretty quick. High energy game here. So he draws that shock. That makes HQ a little more painful to check. And he knows, well, he doesn't know what's on top of R&D. So R&D is new card. But you are risking something like a snare at that point. It was an ice. I think that's a guard. A little bit hard to tell. I believe that was a guard, which makes sense in MedTech. You could put that down and in an early game, put an agenda behind it, and have a pretty reasonable chance of stopping the runner. Mimic makes you really sad. So, still got the shock in there. A little bit hard to say. I know the Lotus Field is in there. I think there might be a couple of those, and I think that's a guard. As a runner here, I would just make sure you have like at least 3 cards in hand, then go check the top of R&D every turn. Ooh, especially with the data sucker now. Yeah, that's what's going on here. So he doesn't see anything, but he does get the data sucker. He puts the data sucker token on. There we go. I like commentating Adam's games here because he just declares exactly what he's doing for each click. I could overhear it here in my headphones. Makes it very easy to commentate. So thank you for that, Adam, should you be watching. I noticed Andrew here was very focused on the game. He was like, nothing would break his attention when he was playing. Adam, I meant to say Andrew. Adam's very focused on the game too, but I think we need to put one of those ice over R&D, which is exactly what he's doing. I didn't quite see which one it was. Another pup would be pretty hilarious, although that's pretty, some liability there. You know the runner has Maker's Eyes. And while that could flatline the runner, it could also mean you just lose the game. So against MedTech, you could be... I feel like they're not going to tend to include fetal AI, so you could kind of remove that from the equation, although, anybody could include it. Alright, so there's no pressing threat on the board. There's no remote server, so the runner decides to put down self-modifying and then just take credits from Magnum Opus. I don't really know the deck here, but I would be a little bit worried about potential Vamp. But, not much you could do against that, except have a couple different types of ice here in front of HQ. He does have a lot of ice. Really interesting how much ice he's drawing. Curious if that deck has a lot of ice, or if he's just getting it all and not getting... I don't know if he's drawn one economy card this whole game. I don't think he has. I haven't seen any assets for that Jackson Howard. Just a little bit of ice over Archives. With that data sucker, never a bad idea. Although putting a shock in Archives is another good way to do that. And he's going to index, and he is going to be able to pull this off. Assuming he can get to another Code Gate Breaker. Yeah, interesting if his only Code Gate Breaker is in Archives there. Looking through his stack here. Might have an Ottman. Ottman would be a really good play at this point. Oh, he's looking at it. Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. That'll get you into that server for 3 credits now. Which is about the best you could ask for Lotus Field. Lotus Field's pretty expensive. Okay, so that should be a 4 strength. Yep, 4 strength Ottman. Paying 1 to get through, 2 for the pup. And he'll index, and he has plenty of credits to get in there at least a couple more times. That was his second click, so yeah, he could just win the game right here if he gets a little bit lucky on the indexing. I think he's pretty likely to see one agenda. Just you know, there's less agendas in this deck because it's probably a 40 card deck with Harmony Medtech. I believe it's a 40 card, 40-12, I think. He's having to make a decision here. Might not see any agendas. I bet he sees at least one. Corp doesn't have that much money either at this point. Looks to be down to 3 credits if I'm seeing that right. I should turn this up to full res my preview window here, but I don't want to do that in the middle of commentating a game. I have a bunch of draft games come up on the channel soon. I am going to a draft today at Games of Berkeley to have some fun with Overdrive. I've played draft like 5-6 times now and have a blast every time. So yeah, we're doing an Overdrive draft today. I'm going to bring my camera, record a bunch of fun games, so I'll have those up on the channel soon. Something else you can look forward to, in November I am going to Worlds with a few other people from the Bay Area Netrunner community. And I will be bringing my camera and recording games as I can. Don't know what the setup's going to be like there, but I will try and record as many games as I can at Worlds. Might be hard to get in on any of the like final games, depending on, you know, Fantasy Flight might be recording their own games at that point, but we'll see what we could do. Definitely try and do a lot of recording and try and play in a lot of drafts and whatever else they have. I kind of have hopes that they might have a multiplayer format release there. That's just total speculation on my part. No basis for that, but I think that would be really fun, 4-player Netrunner. The last draft was just 2 weeks ago. I did not record that one because at that point I had a lot of regional games I was still recording. But that one was so much fun. So many good games. So hopefully I'll have some more today. I'll try and move the camera around and get a lot of different diversity in the like try and get everyone's deck visible there. I may or may not record the actual drafting process. All right, so he's going back in R&D and presumably getting an agenda. Gets the other brain trust, the last brain trust, I should say. Okay, so the runner here is in a very good position. I will say that putting out that Ottman at 4 strength has potentially opened up a scoring window here for the Corp. We don't know what ice is down there in that remote, but if it's some low strength ice, if it's the Quandary, for example, have a chance. I think it's worth taking that chance. Just trying to sneak an agenda through. Okay, he discards a card, and that is the turn. I feel like that might... No, that wasn't an agenda. I feel like that might have been an agenda he just threw in there. I don't know. I thought he had an agenda in his hand before the discard. Alright. And he's keeping the shock in hand. Ooh, he has an NAPD in hand. That must be the agenda I saw. That is not really what you want to see at this point. But yeah, with that Outman at 4, you know, low strength ice can keep him out. Would probably be worth a try. He doesn't really have enough credits to pull it off right now, I don't think. So he needs to res the ice and be able to score the NAPD. Would much rather have that be a medical breakthrough, I'm sure. Should he have that one in his deck. And at this point, especially getting those data suckers, I think the runner is going to check the top of R&D every turn until you respond with some more ice. And that will eventually lose you the game. It's a really hard position to be in. Wow, so he puts down an R&D interface. He could have utilized it there as his last click, but that would have been risky. So he decides to just play it a little bit safe there. And so that, I believe that's NAPD down. Yeah, that's NAPD down. So he is trying to take advantage of this possible scoring window here. Runner has enough credits, I think, to respond, but I'm not sure if he has enough time to get something down. If he could get another Ottman down at 0 strength, I think he'd have a decent shot of getting through that server. A couple data sucker tokens. And he was wise to get that extra memory down earlier in the game when he got the free install for it with Kate. Corpse hand there, just the 3 pieces of ice in that shock. I don't know if like it might not be that risky to let the runner score out that agenda here. It does put you in match point, that's the biggest risk. Ooh, man. So he hits the roto turret. That was probably the worst thing that could have happened there. Chooses the Ottman. It's an interesting. I think that was the right call. I mean, I was thinking about that a lot. If you choose Magnum Opus, choose Ottman probably in that case, and it could go either way. You kill the Ottman, you protect R&D. He does not have a parasite here. He could have parasited that roto turret and then possibly gotten in. It looks like the Corp is going to score it out. It's a tough call. It depends what is in front of that roto turret in my mind. So you have to assume that the parasite's going to get played real soon here on that roto turret or, icebreaker. So the Corp just takes 3 credits. If he has some, I think, end the run ice in front of that roto turret, that's a fine play. Okay, a couple Magnum Opus clicks there. Ooh, okay. So Fem is gonna probably go onto that ice in front of the roto turret, just guarantee that we can score this agenda here, and this will be the game unless that ice in front has a lot of subroutines. Well, it's going to take 2 to break them. Yeah, so right now... Oh, he could do it. If he reses this. Res it. Oh, I wonder why he didn't... If he would have resed it, he could have... Yeah, I think he's realizing now that he should have resed whatever was in front. I'm curious what that was, but that would have just costed the runner at least 1 credit. And then... yeah, let's see what it is. Yeah, Baku. Yeah, he just made a mistake. He realizes it, though. He would have rezzed a Baku. The runner would have got into that server with only 1 credit left, couldn't have stolen the NAPD, and then he wouldn't have had enough credits or clicks left in the turn to get it, I believe. And so he could have scored it out there. So a little bit of a misplay there cost him the game. But that's the way it goes. It's Netrunner. All right, so I will have those... I'll have 1 more game from this tournament up. And then I will have some draft games. I really like watching draft games. A lot of fun. Okay, thanks for watching.